So let's talk about something with respect to communication. I used to work together with a guy in the workforce who, let's just say, it was very, very direct, very, very abrupt. He didn't have any problems telling you his opinion about stuff. And that's fine. I think we all should be direct. I think we all should not be afraid of saying our or stating our opinion, speaking our minds. But there is a way in which you do so, and there are certain nuances and contexts in which it might not behave, or excuse me, it might not pay off to state your opinion about just about everything. This guy would routinely make half tongue-in-cheek jokes such as, "Oh, we should shoot them in the neck," and say it in a very verbose and abrasive and rude to some, and very, very disrespectful as well to some tone. Let me rephrase that again because that didn't come out completely the way I intended it to be. It didn't come out completely clean, let's just say. The fella would easily lose his, well, he wouldn't lose his mind obviously, but he would lose his temper. He had a short fuse, and he wasn't afraid of letting people know what he thought about things going on. Now, it's one thing to disagree about something. If me and someone else is disagreeing about a certain approach to a certain problem, then I could say, hey, we should do A, and my colleague or somebody who I'm working with might say, or a business partner might say, no, I think we should do B. Then I argue why I think that A is a better approach than B. And then my opponent or colleague or whatever you want to call him or her would argue the opposite, that no, I think that B is the better approach. Here's why. If I start saying, hey, B is useless because blah, 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 and it's so bad and blah, blah, then I've crossed a certain line. That's where it moves from being professional to just childish. Let's just say that this was a certain way in which this chap behaved. He'd been working for quite a few years. So with that came a bit of expertise and experience, of course. And when you're claiming the moral high ground because you've got so and so many years of experience, when you're not open to new inputs, and when you lose, let's just say, when you lose the grip and you start calling people names, etc., that's where it crosses the line. And so, long story short, where I'm going with this is, this chap was meant to work at a, let's just say, rather high status position. But nobody around him wanted to work with him. He was meant to being transferred from one department to another in the same place, but nobody at the other apartment wanted to work together with him, simply because he couldn't behave. And so he had to be let go, because nobody there wanted to receive him. And so the point of all this is obvious. You can't let your emotions cloud your judgment. And you can't let that come through your ways of communication. You can't talk about shooting people in the neck. You can't talk about, you can't describe people's personalities. You can't assign values to somebody because of their, I don't know, because of their character, or because of their appearance, or because of a certain way that they're doing things in the professional workforce. I mean, this should be so obvious, yet so many people fail to do it. And so Here we are again in 2026, and I see it happening all over. It's happened before, it's going to happen again. And so I'll just leave you with this. The best way, the best, your best weapon, your best tool in the land of business and negotiation is your communication. Don't disregard it. If you want to learn more about sales, persuasion, and business, and get subscribed to my email list, the link to do so is in the episode description wherever you're watching and or listening to this, and I'll see you there.